everyone. We are live here. We've got some great information to share with you. If you remember last week, I shared our company four-step business plan. And I just have to say, thank you so much. I so appreciate your feedback. I so appreciate your questions. Please, I also so appreciate your likes and your shares so we get this information out there. But thank you. And some of the questions that came up from the four-step business plan, in fact, the majority of those had to deal with hiring. So today, we're going to give you some tips on successful hiring. Now, if you remember last week, I mentioned a book called The Who, and that really focuses on the interview and how you can really do a better job in interviewing. I'm going to go a little different direction today. I also want everyone to know that as an organization, we have an exclusive relationship with Michael Herman of Executive Recruitment Alternatives, and he as a company helps all of our sales executives. If you are looking for someone to hire, he can help. That's his job, that's his strength, that's his expertise. So he's there to help, and you can learn more information. Just go to your branch managers and they can help you get connected with Michael. Today, what I really want to focus on is I have a few questions for you. And the first question is, why? Why do I want to hire someone? Because I think that gets lost in translation. So we're going to cover that first. Why do I want to hire specifically a staff person, an administrative person to help me? All right, well, let's jump right into that. The number one reason when you're thinking of going down this path, I want you to have this in the back of your mind, is because you want to focus on your highest and best use. In fact, this ties right back into the four-step business plan on your daily revenue commitment. If you're going to hire someone and you're going to invest your hard-earned dollars, you've got to look at yourself and say, well, the reason I want to hire someone is I'm going to be more productive than I would have been. I'm going to do more productive activities than I did when I didn't have somebody. That's the number one reason you should hire somebody. Okay, that you're going to be closest to the dollar, do more activities closest to the dollar, and you're going to generate more business and raise your income. All right, now, when it comes to focusing on that, what do you deal with? Well, that's lead generation, that's lead follow-up, and that's giving more great presentations, okay, ultimately negotiating for new business. If you're not doing more of that, you know what? You're losing the number one reason why to hire someone. Now, what are some of the other benefits that you get if you hire someone? All right, it may not be the number one, but it's certainly a benefit. And that is you get to focus more on your strengths and less on your weaknesses. And you know what I found? When people focus on their strengths, they enjoy what they do more. So if you're thinking about how I can really have a smile on my face all the time, every day, is do the things you love to do. I had a mentor, Kurt Anderson, years ago, who helped me transform really my whole day. And it was all about focusing on the highest and best use of my time, but tying in, Mark, what are you most passionate about? What do you love to do? And how do we tie those together? Another benefit you get when you hire someone is you stop doing the things you don't like to do or you're not good at. So you can stop doing those totally. That's great. So it even if it's something that may be a strength and maybe you enjoy it somewhat, you can stop doing it because truthfully, it's not something that you love doing in that example. Last but certainly not least, one of the benefits you get out of hiring someone is you can start doing the things that you're not doing that you ultimately should be. You know what? There's only 24 hours in a day for all of us. So you should start doing some things, but they're not getting done. They're left to the end. And guess what? When we leave them to the end, they ultimately never get done. So you're leaving those off. Okay, so those are the main reasons of why you should even consider hiring someone. All right, let's shift gears a little bit. Why should you consider hiring a team associate? So for those of you, and I'm very excited, I'll tell you at the end of today, I've got a great guest tomorrow that's going to talk about team building. But for right now, in your mind, if you're thinking about, you know what, one of these days, I ultimately want to build a team, or I just want to hire a team associate to work with me. What are some of the ideas around that? Well, number one, again, is you're leveraging up your income. Why do I want to take on the responsibility, okay, of anybody? It's because I'm leveraging up my business, I'm leveraging up my income. Keep this in mind, guys. If you're not doing that, you really got to say, why am I going down that road? And the answer may be you shouldn't. Okay, so if leveraging up your income isn't the number one reason, I'm going to do some pushing back. All right, unless we were to talk and see that there's truly a compelling reason to move forward. But here is another benefit: is you can handle the overflow of business. Let's say, you have a very specific niche or focus, which you love within your business, and that's great. But there's other business that comes in and it's an overflow that really you're not handling, or you're not connecting and following up with effectively. So guess what? You need to hire a team associate, not because you're going to lose any business that you're doing, but there's other business that, guess what? If someone else could follow up on that, I know I can tie more business down. All right. It's just not going to be me following up on it. It's going to be someone else. Great idea to hire a team associate. What about handling specific segments of business? Let me give you some examples. How about other leads that come in from internet, sign calls? Okay, it could be regular ad calls, digital ads, whatever it is. You've got this group of business that comes in through dollars you're spending or efforts you're doing that's generating more leads. All right, well, you want someone to handle that business. That's a great avenue. How about specific price ranges? For me, Mark, I really want to key in on X price range and up. But I don't want to give up this other business that's there. I mean, this is bread and butter. It's there. I'm certainly always willing to help if my sphere wants me personally to help. But I have this extra business in a lower price range that I would prefer not dealing with. But if I had that team associate, I could give them that segment of business. And then last but certainly not least, I know there's some sales executives who choose to focus on listings versus buyers. Well, you might need a team associate specifically to focus on buyers of all price ranges. Totally up to you. And I guarantee you have other reasons why you would want to hire a team associate. There's no wrong answer there. The only one I want to push back on is all of them should have something to do with expanding your business, expanding your horizons, and driving your income up. All right. I want to say this, and you know me, I always come from a optimistic and positive viewpoint, but I do have to tailor it in this fashion. Do not hire, okay, a team associate unless you follow these next simple rules. All right? I'm telling you, I don't want you hiring a team associate unless you really internalize these next simple rules. And I've got 4 items. 1, understanding that your culture is everything. If you're not going to be sensitive to the culture that you're operating in, I'm just telling you, you are not going to have a lot of success in hiring someone. You may hire someone, and even if you find someone good, they're probably not going to want to stay with you long. Why? Because the culture is key, is solidifying someone long term. It's also there. It will help drive revenue for not only that sales executive, but for the team overall. Culture is key in all of its forms to drive you forward. So you got to be cognizant about the culture. All right. Remember this, which ties right into the culture. What you accept, you attract. So if you look at other teams, or you have a team right now and you're looking at yourself, whatever you accept within your team, that's what you're attracting. So probably the most obvious one is if I let people on my team, what we call a brokerage within a brokerage, and they're allowed to do nothing, they're allowed to not show up, they're allowed to be unproductive, guess what? That's what you attract. That is the culture you're building. Please, I always say this, don't ever argue with the truth. When you argue with the truth, you lose 100% of the time. When it comes out of your mouth saying, no, I want to build a culture of productivity and success, yet you allow people to stay within your group that is unproductive and doing nothing, guess what? I understand you're saying that's the culture you want, but I promise you that's not the culture you're going to get. When someone asks me about, Mark, tell me about the culture of your company, and I said, honestly, I can tell you the culture I'd love the company to be, but if you really want to know the culture of my company, you got to talk to my people because they're going to be the ones telling you truly, like it or not, the culture I have. Next, I hear this building a team, hiring a team associate is about leads. Guess what? I cannot tell you how much I disagree with that. Look, it leads will always be part of the formula in some way, shape, or form because guess what? It ties into you driving more business. So leads will be there. But I promise you, the reason people stay long term and join, even though they may think it's leads, it's not. Okay. And I want team leaders to understand it is not about leads. What it is about, though, is personal and financial success. If you give people personal and financial success, which I promise you is just not about leads, okay? Because you see that fail again and again and again. And I hear teachers talk about, well, if you don't have leads, don't try and build a brokerage. Don't try and build a team, okay? My personal opinion, that's bad advice. It's about personal and financial success. And if you, okay, can help someone create that in their lives, there's a ton of value there. And hence, leads, I promise you, will probably be part of that because it just goes ebbs and flows based on a successful business. Quality, and this ties right into that last one, quality, consistent, and dependable leadership, all right, is a necessity. If you're going to hire anyone, they need leadership. If that's an administrative person or like I'm talking about not right now, a team associate. If you're not focusing on leadership and how you're mentoring that person and how you're helping them grow for themselves, guess what? You've got a short-lived successful opportunity, okay, in hiring anyone. If you're hiring someone specifically, if you got someone that can do a great job or has got great opportunity to build and grow with you, guys, they need you. They need leadership. Okay? They need you to guide them forward. If you're not there and you're doing their own thing and they're kind of left alone without that leadership, that tends not to work very successfully. And last but certainly not least is clearly communicated expectations are essential. If I am joining your brokerage within a brokerage, what the industry calls teams, all right, then guess what? I need to know fully what you expect of me, and I want you to know what I expect of you. And if that mutual communication doesn't happen, you're in for a surprise. Oh, don't worry, you'll get really upset that they're not doing what they should be doing. The only problem is you never were clear, truthfully clear on what you expected them to do. And it works both ways. If they're frustrated and they're not getting the help that they need, well, guess what? They need to explain and show or share those expectations with you so you know, okay, if I'm going to accept this person, then guess what? I've got to be ready to deliver what they're expecting of me. It works both ways. Hiring and getting the right people in the right seats on the bus is a huge, huge opportunity, and it can also be a chokehold if it doesn't work out. But I will say this, get the right people in the right seats on the bus, and you have an unlimited level of success. And all you have to do is, as you grow, you have to be sensitive to when you need more quality people. And keep in mind, the interview process should never end. So if you say, when should I start interviewing? You never interview when you need someone. You're continually talking to people, even though you may not need someone. You may run into a really high quality person, say, I didn't have a position for this person. But guess what? It's a perfect opportunity for me to expand my business, and I can do it because right now with this individual, I have the right person in the right seat on the bus.